Is that the end of events for good, or will we see them again at some stage?
It's been sort of dying out for some time now because same with the product I work with, the time we see it, it's been in Germany, across the rest of Europe, and time it gets to us, it's not old hat is the wrong word, but that reveal that we would have had years ago. I remember working for Range Rover when the new Range Rover came out, and nobody had seen it, including ourselves. It was covered over. You just didn't see it, and we had a live satellite link across the world, and that was fantastic.
It was a real event, wasn't it? It was
absolutely.
all the anticipation for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But today you get a new model in. The new S-Class was launched yesterday because everybody's seen it. It's on the internet. People have driven it. So it has changed immensely.
Hi, and welcome back to the Armchair Show, where I'm joined today by a familiar guest, actually, Keith Jackman from Sandown Group. How are you doing, Keith?
Yeah, I'm doing very well, thank you.
Good stuff. You must have enjoyed the show last time if you've come back.
I did, yeah. It was a great experience, to be fair. Didn't know what to expect, but it was good fun. Met some good people and did some business out of it as well. So
Fantastic. We did our job then in that case,
absolutely
didn't we?
did.
Might as well stop here now. Yeah. No, thanks for coming back on again, Keith. We really appreciate it. Obviously, you spent a lot of time in various roles. Can you just tell us a little bit about where it all started for you?
I started off as a parts person many years ago while I was waiting for my mechanics apprenticeship in the Royal Air Force, working on cars, etc., as opposed to planes, which is the first thing people generally ask. So that's my start in the motor industry, and then I did my apprenticeship there, came out as a technician, and then have moved through most roles in the business. So
what's been your favourite role so far, apart from the current one, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, I do enjoy marketing very much so, because of it changes every day. Everything's different, and there's no normal day in marketing, so that's what I enjoy about it most, really.
What drew you into marketing? What was it about that side of things that caught your eye?
I was constantly criticising our after-sales marketing. I was an after-sales manager for more years than most, and was upset by the lack of people doing it, really, and the fact that they just didn't give it the attention it needed. And kind of, apparently I had a little knack for it, so my boss at the time said, and it kind of grew from there.
Yeah, it's fascinating how many people kind of merge into these roles. There's always a bit of planning involved, obviously, but from the sounds of it, it was quite a happy accident to be.
Yeah, I would never thought I'd be running marketing departments and contact centres years ago, that's for sure. So here we are.
And do you think the industry's changed much over the last few years? Or is that a bit of a daft statement to make?
Yeah, and I've been in it for 40 years, so for me, yes, most definitely. I think obviously the digital side is huge. I was thinking earlier when I was listening to one of your guests, I sat on a forward-thinking group for the manufacturer about 5 years ago, and I was actually thinking, do you know what? And we were planning then what's coming, what's going to be next, and there was all these ideas, and actually 5 years on, none of that's kind of happened. So what has happened, of course, is the ability to trade easier online, which is great. And as we also said earlier today, it's still got probably some way to go in some areas.
What sort of areas do you think? Where do you think it could improve?
Just to make it easier, and echoing the speakers earlier, it's just having 7, 8, 9 logins to do a job is madness.
And obviously we're talking there, aren't we, from the dealership's point of view. That amazed me to have that many systems, and I think, as a previous guest said, quite often not integrated either. Has that been your experience as well then?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I added 3 new password and usernames on last week onto my sheet of, I think we're up to like 47 passwords and stuff like that now. Yeah, for all the things you have to log into. And I'm not saying you log into those every day of the week, because of course you don't, but it's just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah, are you finding that's causing an issue? Obviously at the moment, and maybe for the foreseeable future, more people are working from home, aren't they? Are those systems causing an issue to enable that home working?
They weren't to start with. We're hoping, we've talked about that a lot today. It frees up so much. We couldn't park in various elements of our business. Parking's horrendous in the motor trade as a whole. And actually, to be able to get on site and park on site and stuff like that now, just purely because staff are able to work from home now rather than have to drive into the office, it doesn't appear to affect everybody's ability to do their job.
Yeah.
So, I think elements like that hopefully will stay.
Has it impacted marketing in any great way? Because I think a lot of marketers, myself, tend to be used to working remotely and working from home or from coffee shops and things. But what about yourself? Has it impacted your role much?
What we actually do, we can do from home. And again, it is one of those roles where we are blessed. We can sit at home and get it done. But it has hit, as a whole, it's hit us. We would normally plan a lot of outside events, of course. And that takes up, as any marketer knows, a huge amount of time doing all that sort of stuff. Without those, that obviously affects the amount of resource we need in the business, which is a real shame because it's, arguably it's an important part of the business to get the product out there for people to see and touch it.
Yeah, and that's a really good point actually. And with events, obviously we're seeing a lot of the kind of tech giants, the Googles and Apples and of the world. They're moving to, as you'd expect, to an online form of event. Is that what's going to happen in this industry? Is that the end of events for good, or will we see them again at some stage?
I'm not sure. I think it's been in my view, it's been sort of dying out for some time now because certainly with the product I work with, the time we see it, it's been in Germany, across the rest of Europe, and time it gets to us, it's not old hat is the wrong word, but that reveal that we would have had years ago. I remember working for Range Rover when the new Range Rover came out and nobody had seen it, including ourselves. It was covered over. You just didn't see it. And we had a live satellite link across the world. And, that was fantastic.
It was a real event, wasn't it? It was
absolutely.
a real anticipation for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But today you get a new model in. The new S-Class was launched yesterday because everybody's seen it. It's on the internet. People have driven it. So it has changed immensely.
With that in mind and thinking with your marketing hat on, is there a kind of optimal way to buy a car these days? Because I've not bought a car now for the last couple of years, but I think that when I did it, because I'm quite traditional, I went to the dealership and did it as you would do in the past, really. Is there a better way of doing that? Did I do it wrong?
No, I don't think so. I think there are different customers at the end of the day. There are those people that absolutely want to come in, they want to have a relationship with somebody and talk to them about it. Yep. They want to touch that product. They want to get some, more insight. But at the same time, there is, very clearly those customers that do know more about the product than you do. Without any shadow of a doubt, they come in, they can tell you all the stuff that you have no idea. You go, okay, I'll find out, but I'm sure you're right.
Yeah, and quite often the knowledge they gain is from reviews, isn't it? And that kind of social proof type stuff that we see on Twitter and Facebook, where people are talking about the car they've just bought, either in glowing terms or other terms. I think it's probably fair to say that existing customers probably form part of your marketing team.
Yes, they do. Yeah.
And with that in mind, how should the industry adopt that? Because these are marketing people that you don't pay. They sit at home on their phones and tell the world what they think of your latest car. But
we get so many good ones, and people were delighted with their cars. It's just the easy stuff like vehicle handovers. People love that. And if you make some theatre with it for the people who want that and be able to share that, it's great. And some of the great stuff that I've seen, where little children pulling the reveal cover off and stuff like that, and and bouncing up and down after they've seen it. It's great, really good.
Yeah, absolutely. How do you guys manage social media from the whole group's point of view?
We've tried various things. We've taken it in-house initially. We've sent it out to a specialist to run, and then we've ended up bringing it back in again, really, just because it's... I think automotive is slightly different, so you do need to have a knowledge of automotive to be able to do it properly. And there's so much happening. There's so much happening all the time. As I said earlier, I think marketing changes so often, so quickly. And stuff that one of the things with the lockdowns, I had to go back to do some of the marketing I haven't done for years. And we have a team of people now, we share that around. So suddenly having to do all of it again was actually quite good, because you go, I'm about to do this now. But also you realise how much stuff's moved on, and how some of the stuff I just struggled to do because it had where it used to be nice and easy in Paint just to change a registration plate. Now, it's a whole different thing.
Yeah,
So.
you'd watch 17 YouTube videos to work out how to do it.
Exactly right. Yeah.
But I suppose that's exciting really, in its own right, isn't it? We couldn't have guessed what was going to happen this year, and we probably can't really guess what's going to happen in 10 years' time. It's educated stabs in the dark, really, isn't it? But that's in a way that's quite exciting, I suppose. Well, Keith, I think it's been fascinating chatting as always. We'll definitely have you back on. We'll probably be in a different location next time as well. We might be in the normal studio. But yeah, no, thanks so much for coming on. Really appreciate your time.
No, thank you for the invite.
Yeah. And thank you very much for watching. If you can subscribe, we'd really appreciate it, and it means you won't miss a single episode. Until next time, we'll see you then. Thank you.